Urban Nerds on the Beat here on YouTube. I appreciate the melody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to all my beautiful people in this wonderful, wondrous universe full of limitless possibilities that we are all capable of if we can only channel our thoughts, channel our emotions, and channel our energies in one singular direction for a sustained period of time. Then that eventuality will definitely manifest itself here in his life. My name is Robert Prash, the King Comebacks with two Ks at the end. I'm here on Creating Greatness Podcast, and I appreciate you lending me your ear for this half hour or so, man. We're going to get it going. We're going to keep it going with the Everyday Excellence series. You know, man, I talked about it in the last episode, and I talked about it in the morning routines episode for all my subscribers. 99 cents a month contribution for that show. But we've been talking about the little things, man. We've been talking about dialing into the details of life, dialing into these little fine threads of deviations in our behavior, deviations in our thoughts that could be tuned and guided and directed in a more positive and beneficial light for us and everyone around us. So last time I did the gym, man, I haven't really done a lot of shows focused on the gym. I'm not like in the super greatest shape. You know, I did get the personal training certification when I was going through my journey and never practiced it, but always worked out and learned some things along the way. So I'm sharing those. And, I think there was some big value there for, people that are new to the game, but by no means am I any expert in the workplace. Once again, I don't claim to be an expert on this, but, talking about work, I'm just pulling my notes here. You are talking to a person that, came home from prison in 2017, went to a temp service and basically told them like, hey, if you guys can't find me a job, my parole officer's gonna put me back in prison. And that was true. But it got me a job. It got me a job working overnight at a warehouse, making $11.25 an hour. I worked at this job for 3 years. In that 3 years, I got moved to day shift. I got 3 promotions and tripled my income. That's factual. I went from $11 an hour and 25 cents to 55,000 annually, and got 3 promotions throughout. It was like lead, and then supervisor, and then salary supervisor. So, I have a little bit of experience with navigating my way through a company, and there are some tools that I'm going to share with you today. Tools that rely on Lean Six Sigma a lot, but a lot of them are just truths that some OGs in the game taught me coming up, man, and I don't have to mention them by name. They know who they are, man. If they ever catch wind of this show, you influenced me quite a bit. And I learned those lessons. I kept those lessons. And now I'm doing my job and sharing them with the people. Because although I was working in a warehouse in a food preparation company, these tools can be applied to many different careers and many different workplaces. And the beautiful part about it is, to me, you can use these things whether you're sweeping floors or you're telling the guy which floors to sweep, and that's facts as well. So, as in all the Everyday Excellence series, I think that inviting a little bit of meticulousness into your life is key here. I always talk to my wife about being methodical in our approach. Life can get crazy. Life can get chaotic. There are so many demands on our time, attention, and effort, and so many distractions to distract us from all the things that need to be prioritized, that being very meticulous in my approach is in breaking down everything that needs to be done into very small micro steps, prioritizing those micro steps, and just plugging away. Not getting myself all anxious and upset and working faster, so now that I'm making more mistakes. Just taking my time, pacing through it. And a lot of times, because I break it down so many different stages, I'm able to exceed my expectations because I broke it down so small, because these things could be very overwhelming. They could be overwhelming sometimes. So invite some meticulousness into your life in that way of breaking things down and just plugging away at it and not getting overwhelmed, and then preparing the night before. Anytime you want to be on point, anytime you want to perform, I think it's very important to prepare the night before. Start wrapping your mind around what needs to be done, how it needs to be done, how you want it to be done. and putting yourself in a position to win, setting the conditions for success. And big part of that is fasting, stop eating a few hours before you go to sleep, give the body some rest, let it process, let all that stuff get out of the way so that the energy can then be diverted to other areas that are in need. And then setting that routine of going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time. You know, there's a lot to be said about that. And there's a lot to be said about routine in general, as long as it's carried forth with the balance of knowing when to get thrown, knowing when to bounce off routine or how to adapt when you get thrown off your routine, because that happens a lot. And then if you're not paying careful attention, you get thrown all of whirlwind. Like the first couple of times we traveled across country, we were staying in hotels and whatnot, and then I'm like eating junk food or it's fast food, whatever I could grab. Like I was eating Impossible Burgers and all kind of nonsense just because I had really no other choice, unless I wanted to just. I mean, I guess I had choices. I could have ate meat or whatever, but I was eating Impossible Burgers and just not taking care of myself, not working out in the morning in the hotel, man. And then like to see how fastly that my body and my mind, my thoughts could decline following that rabbit hole of not taking care of myself, man. So I think it's very important to set yourself up routine, go to sleep around the same time, wake up at the same time. About waking up, I think you need to wake up before you have to. Yeah, wake up before you have to. And once again, if you wake up right before you got to go to work and you're racing to brush and get dressed and run out the door, your car's not warmed up, now you're cold, now you're frustrated, now you're getting angry, the window might not be cleared up, now you're driving down the street and you're getting anxious. See how those things could build up, see how those small little details of your day could just like really build up to a whirlwind of fuckery. It really can. I've had those days. I still have some days like that where I'm halfway through the day before I catch myself and bring it back to center and invite that meticulousness and invite that energy or that excellence back into my life, that expectation for excellence. Like, okay, if I'm doing this, it's worth doing and I need to do it well. And in that way, we're setting ourselves up for success. So we're preparing that before, we're fasting, we're sleeping good, we're waking up at the same time, we're waking up before we have to in order to like wrap our head around the day and to do some performance enhancing practices. That way you're on your best at work. I mean, if you're flying to work and you're out door, you didn't stretch, you didn't yawn, you didn't even twist a little bit. There's nothing you really did to get the system going. So therefore, then you get to work and then you slam some coffee and you try to get going that way. Then once again, you're caught up in that whirlwind. And we're training ourselves to be the maelstrom. Not get caught up in the storm. So a lot of times when I get up, I like to do neem and turmeric on an empty stomach. We already talked about lion's mane mushroom. I talk about neem and turmeric because they're good on empty stomach, and I like taking them. I really don't know exactly the benefits of them. I notice a difference in my stomach after taking them, and I guess that's why I speak about them, because I was the person who dealt with a lot of stomach issues. And I learned through studying some yogic stuff that neem and turmeric on an empty stomach does a lot of benefits to the stomach. And so when I'm taking them after a fast on an empty stomach, I notice a difference. So, once again, obviously I'm not a scientist or a doctor or any of the above. And I guess I'm not even advocating for you to take them either. I'm speaking purely on experience benefits that I felt after taking these herbs on an empty stomach. So apologize for the lack of knowledge there, but I thought it was worth mentioning. And morning routine. So setting yourself up for excellence in that day. I think exercise and sunlight are key. Getting out, getting the body awake, wrapping your head around a day. Once again, how it has to be done, the way that you want to do it, and the best way to do it. Setting the circadian rhythm in the sun. We learned that from Andrew Huberman Lab, Andrew Huberman Lab podcast, where he talks about getting that sun early morning exposure into the eyes and on the skin, setting the circadian rhythm so that you're more alert and focused throughout the day and you sleep better at night. Once again, setting yourself up for that routine to be great the next day, like we just talked about. So I like to do a lot of other stuff before work, but I talked about that in the morning routine, the prayer, the meditation, the exercise, and all that stuff. So let's just keep it moving to when you walk in that door. When you walk into that door of work, you should smile. And I'll say should. I think everyone should smile when they walk into their workplace. Number one, you're blessed to be able to be healthy enough to be able to go there and provide for your family. Number two, we all have to be there at work. We're all there because we have to be to some degree or another. So let's smile. Let's make it a pleasant place to be. We can all walk in there and bring our problems in, scowl, and make work all that more depressing. So I always smile. Never let them see you sweat. That's another thing one of the greats taught me in management. Never let them see you sweat. Don't matter what's going on. You're smiling. When things happen, you're concerned, you're talking, you're having dialogue, whatever. You're solving the problems. You're maximizing resources and problem solving. That's what good leaders do. Another one of my great managers taught me that. And so you have the appropriate body language for the situation. But when you're walking into the floor, when you're walking into people that are down the ladder in the corporate structure, you smile, you're waving, you're shaking hands, you're talking, you're communicating with the people, maybe asking a few key members what's going on, how the family is. You keep it separate. It's friendly with a purpose. Keeping keeping it separate to some degree is beneficial. You just learn the hard way when you get friends and then they want favors and then all those kind of things. You're just going to learn the hard way. I learned the hard way. I got some of my best buddies promoted in the company and they turn around and treat it with disrespect by performing less as they scaled. And that's the opposite. As you scale, you got to perform better now. You want this more money, you want this more responsibility. So scale your level of effort. Scale your level of effort. You're getting compensated right. So don't get somewhere and think you made it and now you're gonna kick your feet up. I had guys do that to me and then I got rid of them. It's just the name of the game. You know what I mean? It's just the name of the game. So I started always keeping it separate. Friendly, I would consider myself even friends with some of the people and the members of my crew, but it just was still a certain level of friendship, and we all have to create those boundaries and those balances for ourselves. So smile. Never let them see you sweat. Dress nice. Dress more so than the job that you have. Dress for the job you want. And of course, we all have to be utilitarian and dress to perform the function of work that we do. So it's all within a balance. Like if you have to go and work on something that you're going to get dirty in, then obviously you're not going to wear slacks and shoes, but still professional wear to perform that job where you look neat, cut, clean, trim, manicured, or maybe not manicured, maybe, I don't mind a good manicure every now and then, but beard trim nice, hair combed very well, standing upright, professional, nice attire. That means you're going to be feeling good. And if you're feeling good, you're going to be more confident. If you're more confident, you're going to perform better. You're going to perform better. And you're going to be more apt to be assertive and go on to these next things I'm going to talk about. But before you be assertive, I think listening is key. Is key, and you hear a lot of things about conscious listening and all these sort of things. But all you really have to do, in my opinion, is control yourself. Master yourself. I am a talker, obviously, and I was a talker, especially as I started getting promoted, and I felt victim to the trap of thinking I had to speak in every meeting or wanting to be the guy with the best idea, because in my mind, I was the smartest person in the room. But the smartest person in the room is the one that is quietly listening to everyone, observing everyone, taking mental notes where need be. And in this way, you accomplish a couple different things. One is that now you're learning all the pertinent information from all the perspectives and all the different departments that you need to know them from. And then you could speak with clarity from the perspective of your department with all the knowledge from all the other departments. And the other thing is that now they're turning their head a little bit, opening up their ear a little bit, because you've been suspiciously quiet the whole time. But maybe you were uneducated in the beginning of that meeting, and now because you took the time to listen and not just think, what am I going to say when it's my turn? Because a lot of people are guilty of that, man. A lot of people I am see if I can turn this, gets a little better light there. There we go. And I'm guilty of this. I used to always just be like, whatever I have to say is better. It's more important. And I want to say it, and I want to say it as soon as they're done talking, or I might even cut them off. And it's sort of this self-absorbedness that I had, that I broke out of, and that we can all break out of a little bit. And even if the person is saying something that may seem utterly ridiculous, I would bet there's one aspect of it that you can grasp and pull hold of to incorporate into your perspective, or just to repeat to them. That's a tactic they use a lot as well, to make sure that you understand exactly what they're trying to say and where they're coming from. And in that way, the person feels heard. And when a person feels heard, they're a lot more open and receptive to working together now, because they don't feel slighted or disrespected. So listening is key. And especially when, not only inner department, or, from your boss perspective or whatever, it's like your crew, man, listen to them because they have great ideas. And I think one of the most, I'm sorry, I look in this camera sometimes and I just go, what are you doing? What are you doing? But some of my best ideas have come from my crew. And I never went to the boss and go, hey, look, I got this great idea, and not give the person credit. I never got less accolades because I gave the person credit for their idea. I still was getting some sort of credit for bringing all these things to the table. Some of the major changes I made in my department, some of the best, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, people's responses to the best ideas were me bringing ideas to the table that I learned from my crew. I listen. They're going to respect you. They're going to be loyal to you because you listen to them, man. And then you even took their ideas to the table. And even if you lose that battle, that does another couple things. It lets your bosses know that I'm going to fight the battle every time it needs to be fought. So, watch where we're going with this thing. Secondarily, your crew knows you go to bat for them. And that builds loyalty and respect. And that's a situation where you could really, really make power moves and be in a situation where maybe you're not viewed in a favorable light from upper management, but you're so entrenched in the day-to-day and have the loyalty, the love, and respect to the people that they can't touch you. And I speak from experience. So let's move on. So we did friendly with a purpose, keep the separation, listen for many different reasons, as we just discussed. Solve problems and maximize resources. This is doing the most with the least. Any company you work for is going to appreciate this, respect this, and notice this. Is accomplishing as many tasks you can with a small amount of crew, keeping their labor costs low, or stretching resources in an effort to maximize output. Is all the way I could say it. It's like they say with the dogs, it ain't the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. I got that from Hustle and Flow, classic movie. And when you're able to do more with less, you're going to get noticed. And then as you're doing the more with less, you have to be careful that doing the more with less doesn't give you less, and the expectations don't become okay less. It has to be done with an awareness to create the space to where, hey, I really needed this. I did it with this, but let's take this and I could do that with it. You understand what I'm saying? Now I'm going to do something else. We're going to get even bigger and better with the same amount that we should have had in the beginning, because I was able to do this with that. But don't not give me this, what you owe me, because I did it with that. Give me that and watch how much more I can do. That's going to get you there. So yeah, so solving problems, maximizing resources, doing the most with the least, being assertive, man, being assertive, setting boundaries, early and often. Employers will treat you however you allow them to treat you. It's not a doom and gloom thing. It's not everybody's an a-hole thing. It's just pretty factual about corporate America today, that they're going to treat you exactly how you allow. They value you. They'll treat you the way that you want to be treated. You set the door. You set it down right at the interview. Let them know your non-negotiables, your deal breakers. We talked about those powerful languages to have in our vocabulary and able to help us create these powerful boundaries and respect lines, for you. Hey, this is who I am. This is what I represent. This is my deal breakers. This is my non-negotiable. But if we can meet all those things, then we could compromise and make this thing work. And you can have a very valuable soldier at your disposal. That's how I always present myself. So be assertive, set boundaries early and often. Employers will treat you however you allow them to. Set expectations. If you set expectations early, they'll be respected. And I mean expectations on yourself. Obviously, that's what we're talking about. It's Everyday Excellence series, having expectations on yourself, but also having expectations from your employers. This is something that used to get me sideways looks, and I'll never back down on it. Like, no, you set expectations for me to set expectations on my crew. You give me little or no resources to do it because I'm a boss like that and I get it done. We used to call my crew the GSD crew, get shit done crew. That's how we do it. And now I need expectations from you. If we perform to this level, then I need an extra 5 minutes break for my guys. If we perform to this level, then I need, a lunch once a month or whatever. That is like, they're not meaningless sentiments, because believe me, those type of things pay off. I use those things to my advantage in the workplace. When I was able to get my crew a couple pizzas on the company, I did. Whenever I could get my guys an extra 5 minutes or an early day when they needed it, I did. My guys and girls, my people that I worked with. They didn't work for me. I worked with them. And being a boss is being an advocate for these people, and not to the detriment of you. You have to protect yourself. That's why you don't come with any clownness. You listen to your crew, you hear them all out. And if they come with clownness, you politely explain to them why that would never fly. But if it's something that could even be partially legitimate, at least bring it to the table, man. And once again, they'll respect you for it. But set them expectations on your crew too. Let them know they're great. Let them know they're great. Let them know that we are all great together and we will accept nothing less than greatness. And you'll take your lumps out there. You'll take your lumps out there. But that expectation and that philosophy of greatness and that kindness, that compassion, but still that drive and that expectation will create, once again, loyalty, respect, and they'll exceed expectations a lot of times. It'll blow you away. But then other times you set the bar so high they fall short, or we together fall short as a team. You still did pretty damn well. And that's what I'm talking about setting that bar high in life, because if I can't reach that, then I ended up doing pretty damn well. And that's really my philosophy with a lot of things, man. I just shoot for the highest I can think of and see where I land. So expectations for your crew, expectations for yourself, man, to uphold the values and morals that you should have, and the ethics, as you proceed in the world of any corporate structure or business. You see the opportunities to abuse power. I mean, I'm talking about the littlest power, because these guys, supervisors, managers, owners, or whatever, they're not the most powerful people in the world. Their power is nothing to the next guy over in the next town. But within these small worlds, we hold the power of people's lives, their livelihood. And we have to take that very seriously and hold the office, however small it may be. I don't care if your crew is 3 people. Hold it with morals, hold it with integrity, hold it with ethics, and behave when everyone's back's turned the same way that you would behave while they're looking at you right there in your face. And you stick to that rule, and you're going to run into little problems because you're authentic, because you're true, because you're righteous and you're just. And once again, once the loyalty and the respect level rise. And people that don't negotiate, man, people that don't accept that philosophy, don't negotiate with them, whether you're your boss or not, because we're going to move into prepare yourself behind the scenes to be able to walk away. That's one of the most important aspects of working for a living. I don't talk bad about people that work for a living just because I don't do it anymore. In fact, I miss it sometimes, to be quite honest with you, because it's a game. It's a game. Let's see how far we can take this thing. Let's see how many moves we can make. Let's get involved with the politics and the behind the scenes culture of companies, and let's see what we can do with it, And it's nothing dishonest, nothing subterfuge about it. It's just, I'm going to honestly righteously work my way through this place, and I'm gonna see what all y'all hitting for, and I'm gonna call you out on whatever it is, you know, because if it's BS, I'm gonna call you out on it, man. If you don't want to hold yourself to the morals and the values and the ethics that I have set, then I don't want to work for you. And I'm not saying that my morals, ethics, and values have to be yours, but what I'm saying is whatever morals, values, and ethics that you have, make sure your employer has them too. And if you don't, deal breaker, non-negotiable. Powerful words create powerful boundaries and create much respect, loyalty, and love. So we got the expectations. Oh, here's a big one, and that's work on yourself, not just for your employer. Because if you're just working and devoting all your energy for your employer, in my opinion, you could become resentful. And it's just because you're killing yourself, you're slaving yourself. And no matter how many promotions you get, no matter how many raises you get, you're never going to be getting compensated for what you're really worth. But the way that you all set that is, excuse me, focusing on one aspect of the job that you like, one or two. In my instance, I was making food for people, and I was able to help some people along the way as far as like training them to be better. Even though I was training them in a job setting, you know me, I mixed in appropriate life lessons as well. And seeing those people progress, like even still to this day, if somebody reaches out to me and texts me and they're shining, I'm smiling, you know, because that's what I'm here to do. That's my purpose. So I took that aspect of the job that I loved and focused on that. And I worked on myself, man. I worked on things that I wanted out of life. I worked on things that were going to get me out of that life, which did. But that's also what I'm talking about is the power of your employer knowing you'll walk away. Once again, like dressing good, like sitting upright. It speaks about your character. It speaks about your level of excellence. It speaks about your level of preparedness. When they know that, they're not going to want to get rid of you anyway. But by setting the expectation on your employer and letting them know the type of person you are, your character, your moral, your value, your ethics, and your ability to walk away from that job at any time, and they'll respect it because once again, they'll treat you the way that you allow them to treat you. So if they think even for a second that you're stuck at that job and you have to be stuck at that job, it may bias the way that they deal with you. And so prepare yourself, work for yourself as well. Even if it's 1 hour, if you're dedicating 8 hours to the man, dedicate 1 hour in the morning or 1 hour at night, or both, preferably to yourself. And cultivate those aspects of who you are. Not only will it make you a better worker at work because you're working on yourself as a person, you're becoming better. So if you're becoming a better person, and you're obviously going to become a better employee and a better boss and a better entrepreneur, a better husband, a better father, a better wife, a better mother, all that stuff. If you take the focus back on self, and it will alleviate some of that resentment because it's like, okay, yeah, I come here and do this for 8 hours. I'm gonna do it well, but this is what I'm really working on. For me, it was like the podcast, and I was getting my personal training certification at the time and all these other things. But I went in and I gave them all. They were paying me, and they were paying me pretty well for what I was doing. So I went in and gave them all. But then, you know, I went home and worked on myself as well. And that side project can be the potential escape from the 9 to 5, man. Or maybe your side project is leveling up your skills to be able to get a better job. But having that on a back burner will give you that ability to walk away. Also, you know, what needs to be said there is savings. You know, I'm not a big advocate for saving money because of how fast it gets. I mean, there's different ways to save money, and I'm no financial guru, but I like to invest my money as I'm getting it, and I spend what I need, I invest the rest, and then I save, you know, like a month's earnings is what I would suggest. That way you always have like a month to figure stuff out. If they, and I don't mean flying out of the door in a hot rage and making an emotional decision. I mean standing strong on your morals, your values, your ethics, and your worth, man, because that's where they'll get you. That's where they'll get you, where they're attacking your worth. Like they're not giving you the proper compensation and proper respect or the proper resources to do your job well, and are expecting miracles and expecting nothing out of something, not once in a while, but continually, man. So having that preparedness, month's salary, some side projects on the back burner to be able to go, okay, enough for me. Here's my 2 weeks, and let's call it quits. Because I even gave my job 2 weeks when I was on fatherhood leave. And I came back for 2 weeks and left just because you never know. I may still want to call one of these guys about something. I may want to have them on the podcast. I want to create no bad blood. There's no reason to. But everyone's situation is unique, and I expect that you were able to prioritize that within your mind through the prayer meditation that we talked about in the daily routine one. So yeah, work on yourself. Pay attention, man. It's all in the details. Very small changes can make a big impact and show skill. I talked about this, and a great example is if I'm running a product on an assembly line, and we're doing the same task over and over and over and over again throughout the day, throughout the month, throughout the years. If I'm able to shave 1 second off the closing of a box or off the placing of a product or eliminating one step from that process to create a more efficient process, then I may have shaved the company millions of dollars, because that 1 second adds up to minutes and hours of manpower throughout the year, and depending on what you're doing, it can equate to millions. So pay attention. Focus in on the smallest details about what you're doing, and to do that, you do have to take a step back, and you can't always do that before you're the supervisor, but there's moments when you can. Breaks in between where people are gossiping, complaining, talking with one another, and going to the bathroom and doing all sorts of things that people do at work. That's when you can be paying attention and making your power moves to get to that next level. Well, now you're able to sit back and view the entire process from a greater view, from a wider perspective. And then you can really start to pinpoint the problems and the bottlenecks in the processes and procedures and eliminate those in ways, or even take the stress off or whatever. Use your mind. Think outside the box. They can only tell you no when you bring it to the meeting. A lot of times they tell you yeah, and you end up looking like a boss, the boss that you are, by the way. So yeah, pay attention to details. Learn everything. Learn everything. When you get into a place at ground level, soak up everything. Learn everything. Learn every department. Don't get pigeonholed into one singular job and then just get fixed. This is my job. This is how I do it. I used to always hate when people would say, that's not my job. I would go, you're getting paid to be there. You might as well be keeping busy. It makes the time fly. So if you have an opportunity to sub in a different department or a different area, or if you have an opportunity to learn a new skill, especially computer skills, most of these computer skills are super basic. They don't want you to learn. They don't want to teach you because it's simple. It's simple. So pay attention. Learn what they'll let you learn. Lazy bosses will let you learn it all and think you're going to do it for them. And you could do it for them for a while and get compensated to learn, because you're getting paid partially in the training that you're receiving. Once you get that training and you wrap your head around it very well, then you can make that power move and like, piggyback them, like piggyback them and do it like that. So yeah, you are valuable, man, but increase your value by being able to learn everything. For instance, like if I worked in the warehouse that I talked about and I was in the production line, but I still learned inventory. I still learned sales. I still learned commercialization whenever I could. I had my main function to do, but even to some degree, certain maintenance aspects of the job, because if it was something minor and I didn't have to call the mechanic and then stop stop what I'm doing because of an equipment failure for who knows how long, if this guy's not here or if he's busy with something that's higher prioritization. And if it was something simple, I could just take care of it myself. And then we're right back rolling on it, telling, hey, no problem, man. It was that little trick you showed me last week. So pay attention to everything. Learn all the skills you can. Increase your value that way. And yeah, and prepare to walk away if you're not compensated appropriately. And once again, so I'm going to, I've won a few salary negotiations because, excuse me, they knew I was willing to walk away. They knew I was willing to walk away. So having that power, and one that's known, not in a disrespectful way, but one that's known, it is a powerful tool in your work arsenal. We already talked about take one aspect of the job that you like, and that's it, man. Everyday excellence, intensity, vision, strength, in the gym, at the workplace, and in life, man. And it'll add up. It'll add up. Like I said, I used all those tools to build myself up in that way and work that career and then walk away from it, man. And I know that y'all are capable of doing the same thing. I know that y'all are capable of doing even more. And we're going to keep it going with the Everyday Excellence series. I believe it's valuable to society to really dial in and focus in on these little minute details of life, and slow it down a little bit, and tune in, man. And it can create big level ups, big level ups. I appreciate y'all tuning in, man. I hope y'all got something out of this. You can always check out any booklet on Lean Six Sigma to give you more tips and tools and techniques for everyday excellence in the workplace. My name is Robert Prash, and this is Creating Greatness.